every so often, as you have a game that's released on Steam, this little thing happens where some player gets it inside of them that they want to give you this little nugget, this little thing that is a review. And it is actually an insanely important thing to do. And if you're not leaving reviews on games, do it, because it is very helpful for the Steam algorithm. I don't know exactly how helpful it is, but the generally accepted ratio is about 30 purchases to 1 review. So if you want to calculate a game's sales, you can take the current sales price times 30 times the number of reviews. Now, my first game, Chess Survivors, has about 116, which I think puts the number of sales in like the couple thousand mark. My ratio is about 51 purchases to every 1 review. So the mileage may vary on the game. And if you're not hitting 30 to 1, it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of a finger in the wind. I would call it a way to gauge the order of magnitude of the success. Are we talking a game that sold tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or in the case of like something like Stardew Valley or Terraria, hundreds of millions potentially in sales, which is an insane thing to do for one person's game. And just maybe one of my games will pop off someday and do that. But I am getting recently on my game Chess Survivors a lot of negative reviews, and it's kind of pushing down the ratio of that positivity ratio, because one of the important things that people see when they go to Steam page is that positivity rating. Let me pull open my page for you here. Let me hide those tabs. You shouldn't see what that is. All right, Chess Survivors, pulling it open. I should have prepared this beforehand, but I just kind of like hang out with you and share my progress as a game developer with you live, and that's what we got. So I'm currently sitting at 116. That is a 91% positivity rating, but if you scroll all the way down to this lovely portion down here, you can see a bunch of negative reviews. I'm not sure how many people actually look at the recently posted things, or even looking at these graphs where they can see positive and negativity things. That may be different, but I just got one. You can actually come down here and browse all reviews and then go to most recent if you want to really see if you see a number tick up and you want to see a most recent review. Now, I just got this review last night, and the person has played for 0.3 hours, which at that point, 0.3 hours, what is that, like 20 minutes of gameplay? I want to say don't leave a review if you've only played a game for 0.3 hours, but I gotta agree with them. As a player myself, after 20 minutes, I kind of know if I want to play a game or not. And in this case, they were expecting a turn-based Vampire Survivors. And so maybe something in my marketing, or maybe something in just the name of it, Chess Survivors, they had an expectation of, I want chess. And they didn't get that. I didn't deliver on that. And although I wanted to reply to this person, and you can go in here and you can leave a developer comment, and don't do that. Take a step back and think about the negative review honestly. I'm talking to myself right here. Aarimous, honestly, is this person off base? Maybe I'm mad at a review like this, or not mad, but like disappointed or feel hurt by the review, because it's honest. Because it's true. I think Chess Survivors is a great game for my first game, and I'm very proud of what I did. But I don't think this is a good game. I kind of hate the game, in fact. There's a lot of things I would dramatically change about it. One of those things might be designing it around a turn-based situation. I'd originally made it a quick turn combat so that I could have this tension that you have in a Vampire Survivors game. I wanted that tension of you trying to like not lose the game, this overwhelming horde coming at you, and kind of making it feel a little bit more like bullet chess than an actual game of chess where you can sit down and parse out everything. I didn't want to build a puzzle game. And so from that metric of not wanting to build a puzzle game, I think Chess Survivors is very successful in that. I think it is a game that a lot of people clearly have found fun. I think some of these reviews are people who just like Aarimous as a person, but I also think that some of these reviews that people have left have been huge, long paragraphs of people saying what they enjoyed about the game and the things that they really liked. But there's also really, really valuable feedback in the negative reviews. And I think it is a disservice to you as a developer to sit down, look at that negative review, ignore it, write it off as somebody who didn't play the game enough to understand it, and think, they had some good points. That is an emotionally hard thing to do. I'm still struggling with it. It's kind of what this video is that it sucks. It sucks to get a negative review because I'm a full-time solo developer and that person ripped apart my game, and it's going to impact my sales. I don't exactly know how. I'm not really caring too much about the data, but if you go to a game and you see recently that there are a uptick of negative sales, it's going to drive down the amount of sales you can make on the game. Now that can be for a good point, right? The reviews are generally something that is helpful for the consumer to understand what they're doing. They're not catering to me as a developer, and then they shouldn't be catering to me as a developer. And so it behooves me to look back and take that advice in stride. I think Chess Survivors is like a C- of a game now because I've grown so much as a designer. I've grown so much as a developer. I could go back and remake Chess Survivors in a month. I could probably then spend the next 6 months building out depth, building out interesting new mechanics, building out a turn-based mode that really does give that fantasy of Vampire Survivors, but with chess, or this really deep build creation, replayability, boss fights, challenges, stuff like that. But that's not the game I want to make. I'm working on my game Hexagod. And so if you haven't already checked out Hexagod or followed me over on Steam, I'm at 121 followers, which is pretty cool. Go check out Hexagod. This is actually a turn-based game, which is pretty funny that I took this from real-time and turned it fully into turn-based recently, so I need to update some of the assets and stuff like this. But it is funny that the most recent review was shitting on Chess Survivors for not being fully turn-based, and now I'm pivoting my most recent game, Hexagod. It's a coincidence of timing, but it is interesting to see that. So if you haven't checked out Hexagod, the turn-based mode is live. This week, I'm working on replayability and turning the game a bit more like ramping up the roguelike vibes. So that patch should be live later. If you're struggling with getting feedback that is negative feedback, take a break from it. Do not respond to it immediately. Take a day or two, let it sink in, try to see the feedback for what it is. And at the end of the day, the game might have not been for them, and that's okay. Games aren't for everybody. Don't build a game for everybody. If you do that, you get, I don't know, a crappy new AAA game that has come out that everybody hates and stuff like that. So make your game that you like, take the feedback in stride, and at the end of the day, if you dedicate yourself enough to your craft as a game developer and designer, eventually you're gonna look back and you're gonna hate your games, just like I kind of think that Chess Survivors could be a much better game. I've been Aarimous. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.